and welcome back to another weekly watches. I haven't watched very much this week, I think because there's been a couple of series in there, so let me get cracked on with what I've watched this week. So we kicked off the week with a series which is currently on Amazon Prime called Devil's Hour. This is one with Peter Capaldi. If you've got Amazon, you've probably seen the photograph advertised at the top. This is an interesting one. Really quickly, to try to sort of condense it, this follows, we start, you know, one of those movies where you start at the end, or a series you start at the end and then we get the whole story told through. This is how we start, with Peter Capaldi in a police station. Now this one is quite slow moving. It is very interesting though. It carries through as like a drama thriller. There's no horrific side of this, so it's not horror if that's what you're wanting to watch. It does introduce a little bit of an otherworldly element in this, which I'm not going to explain to you what that is because it would spoil it. But basically we follow this woman through the story. Lots are happening. There are murders happening. She's a social worker. She's tied to people that things have happened to. She starts to get these visions or these flashes of things that happen in her mind, and then things happen and she thinks, I've seen that. Don't think it's fast moving or it's something really sort of like horror filled or thriller filled, because it isn't. It's very much really a drama with a little pinch of something that bit otherworldly added in. It did pay off for me when I watched it to the end. I did enjoy it, but I would say for a lot of people it would be quite slow. But if you have some time to invest, the performances are fantastic here. As I say, it's on Prime at the moment, and it's called The Devil's Hour. So next I watched a movie called The Giver. Now this is one that someone on my Facebook list had watched and they really enjoyed, so I hadn't heard of it. I thought I'll give this a go. This is about a alternative kind of future where people have insulated themselves inside a little community that is free from sin, that is free from they can't touch one another other than their family. It's free really from independent thought. Everyone reaches a certain age and gets given a profession. Everyone must, it's very robotic, it's very stark, it's very clean, it's to protect them from the evils of the world. And this is like this future, suppose they see it as a utopia that we're all meant to live in. Within that community there is a person called the Receiver, and that person receives memories of past existences. So he learns about dinosaurs and about war and about love and about touch and everything you can think of, good and bad, in the past. And he's shown these horrendous, horrible things to show him why this basically environment he's living in has left that all behind. He has to pass this down to the next receiver, and the person that gives that to him is the Giver, which is where we get the title of the movie. It's interesting. It passed an hour and a half or however long it was. I wouldn't say it was groundbreaking or earth moving. It's an interesting little watch if you like the sound of the premise, but I do think with that premise they could have done an awful lot more with it. I think I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5. Okay, the next one on the list is one that I had on my list for quite some time to watch. It's called The Kill Team. It's from 2019 and we have Alexander Skarsgård starring in this one amongst a host of other individuals. So this follows the war in Afghanistan, one particular little unit. This is a true story. There are a couple of changes, but not very many. We follow a smaller group of lads, I think maybe about 6, but the actual real group platoon was 12 individuals in real life. Basically, Alexander Skarsgård is like my army terminology is not good, officer, but anyway, he's the head of this little platoon. And you probably will remember if you were watching the news, some of the treatment of innocent people in Afghanistan by particular members of the military was well documented. People did go to trial for their actions. People were shot that were innocent. This follows this little group, and Alexander Skarsgård's the leader of that. They are very bloody minded. They are quite evil in their thought pattern. They shoot people that are doing nothing, that are unarmed. Obviously they try to lie to cover it. But within that platoon there is one young man who knows that what they're doing is wrong, that doesn't want to do it, that basically is blackmailed into a position of you will do this or you will be next. And we follow this young man and his fight with what's happening. His father is also ex-military. He can't really communicate what's going on. This all really happened. These people all really exist, and it is stomach churning to think that individuals like this are in positions like that with weapons. It just, don't get me started on the whole war question, but this I had watched last week the one on Netflix that's excellent, All Quiet on the Western Front, and it put me in the mood for a war movie. I don't often watch them. The Kill Team is well made, it's well acted. I do think it should have represented what happened in a much more brutal manner than it did. I do feel that it was impactful, but I don't feel it was impactful enough. I don't think they concentrated enough on the fallout of their actions, and we get no insight into what happened after things came to light. It just cuts there and you get a little bit of blurb at the end. I would have liked a longer movie, and I would have liked to have seen these people get their comeuppance. So that was The Kill Team. Okay, the next one I won't spend a lot of time on. It's the state of Alabama versus Brittany Smith. This is a little short documentary, 30-40 minutes, and this follows basically the way women and ethnic minorities are treated in the state of Alabama when it comes to the right to defend yourself rule. This follows this individual lady's story where she is actually taken hostage, where she is raped by this individual, where he's keeping her like hostage, kidnapped her. He takes her to a local garage to get something. She calls her brother, but she can't relate to him in the car with this man, what's happening. She goes into the garage, the filling station, and she tells the girl behind the counter what's happened, and she asks her to call the police. She goes back with this man because she knows if she doesn't, her brother's going to be injured. They get back there. Long story short, what happens is the brother finds out from the clerk at the store. He comes back when he finds out what's been happening. He gets into a tussle with this man that has already sexually abused his sister, that has choked her out, that has beaten her. It showed the injuries, they were terrible. And he gets into a really bad scuffle with this guy. She shouts for him to stop, to leave it. He doesn't, and she shoots this man, I think twice. And she kills him. And slap it up him as far as I'm concerned. So this was in her home, and there is a right to defend rule if someone is in your home. But she actually ended up being sentenced to prison time for this. She was taken to trial for murder because they felt that she used excessive force and she did not need to, which to me is ridiculous. But it was trying to highlight the fact that if a white male in the same area does the same thing, generally they get off with it. If a woman or an ethnic minority does the same thing, they are sentenced for it. I don't know why that is. I can't understand it. It was eye-opening, let's put it that way. We had to pause for a little cough there, folks. We're not right yet. Next was a movie called Razelkind, or Puzzle Child. This, I think, is on Netflix at the moment. It is South African, and obviously this movie is in Afrikaans. There is some English in there. This is very slow. I would not recommend this to most people. I would recommend this to real lovers of cinema, of movies. I would recommend this to Sean from Lost in the Real, people like that. This follows a woman who is mother to an autistic child. This child has a lot of issues. He is quite, I don't know what the right terminology for this is, but he's quite high on the spectrum. He's pretty non-communicative. He bangs his head against objects and hurts himself. He has meltdowns and freakouts very, very often. And this woman's two older children, her two older daughters, feel very much neglected, taken for granted, left to the side, because this woman's entire existence is centering around this young boy and all of his issues. And her husband, the father of the young boy, is not much better. He's just frustrated at her for the time she invests in this young boy. The basic story in this, and we find this out right from the start, so this is not a spoiler. It's in the gump if you read it. This young boy, I think he's 9, he drowns in the bath. Now he's terrified of water, he has to be made bathe, obviously he's always supervised. This movie's trying to get to the bottom of how did this happen? Did his mother kill him? So that is the background behind it. It mainly follows the mother trying to cope with this child, the everyday slog, help she has from a lovely lady in the community that's the only other one, apart from her, that can deal with her child. It's fantastically acted, it's very heartfelt, it's very moving, but it's very slow, so it's not going to be for everyone. Tiny spoiler, not so much a spoiler, but we don't get any real answers at the end of this. I think it's very much a movie that's left up to your own interpretation as to what you feel happened. So as I say, if you're a massive fan of movies, character study, acting pieces, I would recommend Razelkind. It's very well acted, but it is very slow, folks. Okay, we're getting there, folks. We've only 2 left, so Next one, along with the first one, The Devil's Hour, which is a series, this is also a series. It's what I've been watching a lot of the week. So this one is called Vatican Girl, The Disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. Now you've probably seen this one pop up on Netflix. I mistakenly thought I'd seen this one before. This one is quite a historic one. It goes back to the 80s. And I have seen a documentary around a young girl that went missing in a similar time. I thought I'd seen it. And it was actually Sean from Lost in the Rail sent me a message, have you seen this? Because he's a big fan of the documentaries like I am. And I'm like, I think I've seen it before. And I thought I must go back because I remember being quite underwhelmed by the previous one I saw. And then I thought, but if Sean's really rating this, let's see if I've seen it. And I started watching it and I hadn't seen it. It was an entirely different documentary. My word. This one's very long, it's very convoluted. I would love to do a video about this, but there's so many twists and turns. I would make so many mistakes. The comments would be full of people correcting me, as they love to do when you do a true crime video. You pronounced this wrong. Have you not read the court transcripts? Funny enough, no, I don't spend my life reading court transcripts. I'm just chatting to you about a program I watched. But anyway, it's so far-reaching, guys. This follows the disappearance of a teenage girl inside Vatican City, which may or may not have links to the Vatican. That obviously has an entire host of secrets. We bring into this story the attempted assassination of Pope John Paul, which happened around a similar time, the request for the release of the political prisoner that shot him, the support or the potential support of the Vatican for a political party in Poland that was trying to basically, under Russian control, Catholicism was banned. You weren't allowed to be Catholic. Poland sort of got its own rule back. The Pope went to Poland, which is where he was from. The Vatican was meant to fund this political party to sort of help the spread of Catholicism or whatever, people for to be allowed to be Catholic if they wanted. And they're not really supposed to do that. So there's loads, there's criminals, there's the mafia, there's the Vatican, there's assassination attempts, there's so much going on. There's potential leads, and this follows the entire story back, I think it's 1983 when she went missing, up to what we know today. Very interesting, quite complex. You really need to sit down and watch this, guys. You cannot switch off, scroll on your phone, whatever. You need to sit down. This is 4 parts, and I think each part's about an hour long, so it's quite lengthy. Really interesting, just riveting stuff, and something really you would like to do a little bit more reading about yourself to find more out about, because it's really far-reaching and quite disturbing when you properly sit down and think about it. So that is Vatican Girl, and it's on Netflix at the moment. And finally, you'll be glad to hear, another little movie on Netflix called Hellhole. Right, so this is a Polish movie. Why am I doing this all the time? Apologies. This follows a man that goes undercover to do we call it a monastery? The monks there call it a sanatorium. It's like a monastery, it's full of monks. And there's been a lot of girls have gone missing, and a man goes into this monastery undercover as a monk in order to try and find out what has happened to these girls. Now, it's a pretty standard, slow-moving horror movie for the first 3 quarters. The acting's spot on, it looks really good, the sound design's spot on. I don't know why it's flown so under the radar. It's just popped up on Netflix, and we all know how many terrible horrors are on Netflix. This one isn't one of them. This one deserves your time, folks. It is slow moving, but the little bits and pieces of effects we have are fantastic. But then for the last 15 minutes, everything kicks off. Loads of stuff happen. We get to the bottom of what is happening in that monastery, what the monks are doing. They're not how they appear to be, what they're attempting to achieve, what they're working towards. It's kind of hinted at an opening segment of the movie. If you know your occult stuff, you will maybe kind of get what's going to happen. There's a couple of little bits at the end I would have adored to see done slightly different. We have a little bit of movement from something, and I thought, oh please, just fully articulate and have a fight here. If you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There is a particular thing at the end of this movie that partially comes to life. I wanted to see it properly get in there, and I thought it would have been hilarious and amazing all at the same time. But yeah, slow, well acted, nice set design, nice effects, and the ending, it all kicks off. So I would thoroughly recommend it for a nice easy little watch. I sound all kinds of wrong saying a nice easy little watch that, but anyway, it was a nice easy little watch. Just give it a chance, folks. Hellhole on Netflix at the moment. A nice short one as well. I think it was about an hour and a half. And we shall close as ever with what I'm playing. You'll be delighted to know, folks, I am no longer playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so you don't have to listen to this. I would be delighted to say to you I'm playing God of War Ragnarok. I'm not. I'm so tempted. You cannot believe me. I have money sitting from last Christmas that my parents gave me. I was saving up for a new tattoo. I cannot tell you how tempted I am to go buy buy God of War movie. I'm not doing it. But I have been playing Ghost of Tsushima. I've had it for quite a while, but I'm an anorak in that I won't go on to a new game until I've completed the one I'm playing, because you get so invested and you get so into the controls and how everything works that when you start to play something else, you're a bit lost to start with. So I've finished Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm now into Ghost of Tsushima, which is a beautiful game. It's shaping up really nicely. I'm still pressing R3 to try and highlight the area like you do in Assassin's Creed. It's not happening. It's not happy about it. I'm a bit concerned that baddies are sneaking up on me much easier than before, but it's a lovely game. I am enjoying what I've been doing so far, but it's taken a little bit of getting used to the controls. And that, folks, is it for the week. In other news, I am on a live stream on Thursday night. I am on the Horror Hangout with Sean Urshin, Jen and Christian from Jen's Reviews from the Grave, and Monty from the Horror Miser Monty Cheese. So those 4 channels will be on the Horror Hangout. Something I did about 4 and a half years ago for a little bit. So it'll be really nice to catch up with the guys after a long time. We're going to be talking about horror TV shows, past and present, so I think mine may be a little bit different to theirs with them all being in the US, and I know there is a lot that we didn't get back in the day. We do have the more up-to-date ones, but we don't have the older ones. So yeah, that should be fun. Hopefully some of you will come and check in with us. It's UK time is 11 o'clock in the evening. If you're in the US, Eastern Standard Time is 7 p.m. So hopefully some of you, I will put it up on my community tab obviously, but hopefully I'll see some of you there. So thank you so much guys, as always, for watching. I do hope to get back. I really need to get back to the old true crime videos or movies based on true life. That's what I want to do. That's my real interest. I will obviously always keep up this little weekly because movies is the main thing I do. Watch movies all the time. I'm so boring. I will keep this up, but I do want to get back to that content. So if you do watch for that, I will get back. Apologies that I haven't. It just takes so much longer to put together with getting all the facts right, because people do love to tell you you're wrong a lot on the internet. They love it. People must sit there as a full-time job. You're wrong. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. I shall catch up with you guys next week. Over and out from Lucy Loves.